Good evening, everyone. I'd like to welcome you to the City of Warrenville City Council regular meeting for July 18th. Yeah, the 18th already. 2016, that's the same, but the month is going quick. Can you have a roll call, please?
Alderman Ashauer.
Here.
Alderman Berry.
Here.
Alderman Bevere.
Here.
Alderman Davalos.
Here.
Alderman Goodman.
Here.
Alderman Hoffman.
Here.
Alderman Widener.
Here.
Alderman Wilson.
Here.
Thank you, Emily. Would you please stand and join me for the Pledge of Allegiance?
To the flag of the United States of America
and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
This is the time at our council meeting that we set aside for citizens' comments. We have two folks who have signed up this evening, Bob Siebert and Debbie Leahy. So please come to the podium in that order and share what you have to share this evening. Bob, you're first.
Bob Siebert, Albright Court. On June 23rd, under Section A, it stated, "This meeting is being held pursuant to the requirements of the Tax Increment Allocation Redevelopment Act." Under those requirements, who was required to be sent a notification of this required meeting?
We'll find out. Get back to you. Go ahead.
Okay, the only difference is the fact that I live within 750 feet of TIF 4. I was not sent a notice of that meeting. And I believe that the statute is very specific as far as who is to receive notification of the meetings, and if they don't, there's a problem with the future process. Thank you.
Okay, we'll check and find out. Debbie, please.
Good evening. My name is Debbie Leahy. My husband and I have lived in Summer Lakes at 30W030 Hurlingham Court since 1982. Over the years, we've noticed a significant increase in the use of illegal fireworks in our neighborhood. They are starting earlier, lasting longer, and going on with greater frequency and intensity. This year, they started on June 30th and lasted until as recently as Sunday, July 10th at 10:40 p.m. As you may know, there's a long list of hazards related to fireworks, such as fireworks can trigger terrifying memories in combat veterans. They startle people with dementia and autism. Fireworks caused nearly 12,000 injuries and 11 deaths last year, and on average about 18,500 fires annually. Shelters take in more lost pets during the 4th of July than at any other time of the year because the animals are frightened, they panic, they run away. Fireworks cause fear and stress in wildlife, causing some to flee into roadways or abandon their nests. I'd like to suggest that Warrenville follow the lead of other communities and adopt a zero-tolerance policy against the use of illegal fireworks. For example, officials in Santa Maria, California, report that their new fireworks task force issued 23 citations that carry a $1,000 fine, and that calls regarding illegal fireworks appear to be lower since adopting a zero-tolerance policy. They passed out yard signs, aired public service announcements in local theaters, and went door-to-door to distribute flyers. They set up a fireworks hotline. They tripled staffing with extra police, the fire marshal, code enforcement officers, and other city workers. The task force walked neighborhoods, drove streets, conducted stakeouts, and monitored neighborhood social media looking for illegal activity. Fort Collins, Colorado, and Dearborn, Michigan, saw fireworks complaints drop by more than 30%, and an increase in citations as a result of educational campaigns and more vigorous enforcement. The number of fireworks complaints in Elgin reached a 10-year low in 2014 after a few years of the police department monitoring hotspots. distributing informational flyers in neighborhoods, sending letters to past violators, and posting on social media. Belvedere, Illinois launched a "You Light It, We Write It" campaign. The police department hired back several police officers over the holiday to help enforce the new law. And the Lathrop Manteca Fire District in California is looking into using a remote-controlled drone to locate illegal fireworks. So I hope you agree that this is an issue that we can and should address. Thank you.
Thank you, Debbie, for your thoughtful comments. Chief, can you give us any insight into what preventive measures we may take in town already and what might be considered?
We respond to all calls of people where we get fireworks complaint, I should say. Many times when we're doing it, they don't happen in front of us. If they do happen in front of us and we witness a violation, we act on it and we write a citation and we confiscate the fireworks. Many times when you have a block and they're going off all in a block, it's very difficult. And also the ability to be able to go on the private property and enforce this. And quite honestly, with the parade and the activities we have at the park and what have you, you know, our staffing doesn't allow us the type of issues that the residents spoke about in this. You're talking larger communities, Dearborn, Michigan, Elgin, and what have you. You know, we can always look at increasing and hiring people back at holiday pay to try and go out there and do enforcement, but, you know, we try to have a measure of gaining compliance with people without being overly punitive. It's kind of difficult to be able to wade into the backyard of one house when everybody else on that block is doing it. And, you know, to be honest with you, unless we start getting outside assistance and many, many, many more personnel on the street, there's no way we would have the staffing to be able to get 100% enforcement activity on issues like that.
It's a difficult problem. It's not easy to deal with, but perhaps next year we'll take a better look at how we might make some changes. So thank you, Debbie. Okay, official and staff comments, beginning with the mayor. I have nothing this evening. Clerk? Nothing. Caught her by surprise. You have nothing either? I have nothing. Oh, all right then. Alderman Hoffman?
I've now been on the city council here for a little over a year. I've heard several aldermen in defense of these TIFs. Recently, it's been the mayor on how successful they've been. I'd just like to add that I imagine there'd be many businesses and many people that'd be very, very successful if they could steal money out of the pockets of the taxpayers using the property tax system. It's known, we've been told by our county clerk that it raises taxes outside and inside the TIF. And it'd be interesting to see how well these TIFs would actually do if they weren't taking money out of the taxpayers' pockets. Thank you.
Thank you, Alderman. Anyone else? Alderman Widener?
I just wanted to ask the chief a quick question. It doesn't have to be answered tonight. It's regarding the fireworks. I was just curious as to whether we've seen a increase in the rate of incidents and complaints, you know, going back the last several years. So you don't have to answer it tonight, but if you have access to that information and could get back to me, or if, I don't know if the other council members are interested in knowing that, it'd be good to know what the statistics show. Thank you.
Thank you, Alderman. Anyone else? Okay, we'll move on to the city administrator.
Thank you. Just to comment, everyone received an envelope that has an additional item for closed session tonight. Just so you make sure that you see that, and that will come up at the end of the agenda. Thank you.
And city attorney?
I have nothing tonight. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, David. We'll move on to the approval of the agenda for this evening then. Alderman Widener?
Yes, I move to approve the agenda for the July 18th, 2016 City Council regular meeting.
Second.
Second by Alderman Bevere. Any comments on the agenda for this evening? Alderman Wilson?
I would like to be abstained from 5A since I was not at that meeting.
Okay. Oh, yeah, well, you're talking about the minutes, right?
I'm sorry, yes,
Yeah,
ma'am.
we're not quite there yet, but we'll make a note of that when we get there.
Thank you.
Okay, I see no comments on the agenda. All in favor then? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. The agenda is approved as presented this evening. We do have 2 sets of minutes that need approval also. Alderman Wider?
Yes, I move to approve the minutes of the July 5th, 2016 City Council regular meeting and approve the minutes of the July 11th, 2016 Community Development and Planning Committee of the Whole meeting.
Second.
Second by Alderman Davalos, and note that for A, Alderman Wilson will be abstaining. Any comments on those minutes? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. The minutes are approved. The consent agenda for this evening reads thus then: 6A, accept the Plan Commission recommendation, waive second reading. Pass ordinance number 3016, approving a plat of subdivision, revised PUD special use permit and plans, and site-specific amendments for Robert Bosch Company, 28301 Ferry Road. B, accept Community Development Committee of the Whole recommendation, waive second reading, and pass ordinance number 3017, approving change order number 1 in the amount of $49,940, increasing the 2016 road program contract to $922,325.10, as it is required by circumstances not reasonably foreseen at the time the original contract was signed, and is germane to the original contract as signed, and is in the best interests of the city. C, accept Community Development Committee of the Whole recommendation, waive second reading, and pass ordinance number 3018, approving change order number 1 in the amount of $65,815.40, increasing the Glen Drive South Sanitary Sewer and Water Main Improvements contract to $628,558.40, as it is required by circumstances not reasonably foreseen at the time of the original contract was signed, is germane to the original contract as signed, and is in the best interests of the city. D, accept Community Development Committee of the Whole recommendation, waive second reading, and pass ordinance number 3019, declaring 2 pieces of public works equipment as surplus for purposes of trade-in for new equipment. E, accept Community Development Committee of the Whole recommendation and authorize staff and the city attorney to prepare an ordinance amending city code to allow developer-required school, park, and library cash contributions to be paid at time of building permit issuance. F, accept Community Development Committee of the Whole recommendation and authorize staff and the city attorney to prepare the ordinances required to adopt the 2015 version of the International Swimming Pool and Spa Code. G, accept Community Development Committee of the Whole recommendation and approve the Route 56 Streetscape Work Group's recommendations for the design and scope of the final phase of the Route 56 Streetscape Enhancement Project, as outlined in the Community Development Director Menster's memorandum dated July 7th, 2016, and authorize staff to proceed with the preparation of the final design documents. H, receive and file, approved minutes of the Bicyclist and Pedestrian Advisory Commission regular meeting held on June 15th, 2016. I, receive and file a report of invoices paid up to July 13th, 2016, in the amount of $217,801.67. J, authorize expenditures for invoices due on or before August 1st, 2016, in the amount of $688,948.95. And K, receive and file a report of debit card expenditures for the month of June 2016, in the amount of $5,247.79. Alderman Wider?
Move to approve the agenda as presented by Mayor Brummel.
Second.
Motion and a second on the agenda. May I have a roll call, please?
Alderman Hoffman.
Aye.
Alderman Wilson.
Aye.
Alderman Bevere.
Aye.
Alderman Berry.
Aye.
Alderman Goodman.
Aye.
Alderman Davalos.
Aye.
Alderman Widener. Aye. Alderman Ashour.
Aye.
Thank you, Emily. We have nothing under regular agenda, nothing under unfinished business, nothing under new business. We're about to go into closed session. Before that, Alderman Widener has a comment that he'd like to make.
Yes, I just wanted to go back to something that the alderman was saying during alderman comments. It just took a while to seep in and understand exactly what previous councils and people who had worked on the TIF were being accused of. And I believe the words that were utilized were that we were stealing dollars from the taxpayers. And if that's the case, I think people should be in jail, and that there should be something brought forward if there's any proof of that. And furthermore, I think we try to work together as a council and with our rhetoric with each other. If we have something to say, we address each other in polite format, and unless we're absolutely sure of something, I don't think we make serious accusations like Alderman Hoffman has stated tonight. The use of the word steal from taxpayers is inaccurate, it's improper, it's offensive, and I don't think that there's any place for it in our discussions as council members when we're trying to enact policies and financial decisions for the betterment of the community. Thank you.
Thank you, Alderman. We will now go into closed session. May I have the citation, please? Oh, you had your say earlier when you accused us of stealing. Thank you. That's enough. Alderman Berry,
Look up the definition
out
of
of
steal.
order.
I'd like to make a motion to go into closed session for the purpose of 5 ILCS 120/2 (C)(5), the purchase or lease of real property for the use of the public body, including meetings held for the purpose of discussing whether a particular parcel should be acquired.
Second.
Motion and a second. Take your pick.
No, that's okay. Okay, okay,
May I have a roll call, please?
okay. Alderman Ashour.
Aye.
Alderman Goodman.
Aye.
Alderman Widener.
Aye.
Alderman Bevere.
Aye.
Alderman Wilson.
Aye.
Alderman Berry.
Aye.
Alderman Davalos.
Aye.
Alderman Hoffman.
Aye.
Thank you, Emily. We will not be conducting any business after our executive session this evening, so you're free to go about your personal business. Thank you for your attention.